Hi, it's Gary. Welcome to today's video. Today, Fountain Pen Focus Day, and we're going to focus on this. This is the Waterman Carene. Beautiful looking pen. We've got a 18 karat gold inlay nib on this. Nice pen, lovely to write with, as we'll see as we go through the video. Join me now, down on the table. We'll take a look through the pen. We'll do some size comparisons, weights and measures, a writing sample, then I'll give you my thoughts and some scores for this pen. Here we are down on the table, Waterman Carene. This pattern is called Marine Amber. Very, very nice, very attractive. It's like I don't know how best to describe it. I would say it's like a reddy brown, maybe with hints of black coming through. Extremely attractive looking. Let's start by taking a walk through the body. So the top, we've got like a bit of a torpedo shape here, going down though to a very narrow point compared to a lot of other pens that have got roughly the same shape. From here we come down into a clip. The clip goes straight into the actual body there. Unusual shaped clip we can see here on the side. So it undulates in and out a little bit. Turn it around to the front. We've got a W. We've got a little bit of a cutout, and then we come down to the bottom. The cap, we come down. It's tapering out till we get to, I would say, about 3/4 of the way down, maybe 2/3. Then it seems to go straight. Bottom of the cap. Here we've got the gold band or gold coloured band. Waterman, France. Made in France, this pen. From the bottom of the cap, there's not a noticeable drop off. Yes, it's going down, you can feel it, but it's not really noticeable. Then the body, I think it's gently tapering right from the start, and we're coming all the way down till we get to the end. And this is one of the things I like with this pen. It's an unusual end of it. Instead of coming to a torpedo like it does on the cap, what we do is we've got this like sloped bit of the gold coloured material. Got a little bit of a black circle in there. Just makes it look different, makes it look elegant. And that to me is the best way to describe this pen. It's elegant. Everything about it, it shouts elegance. The cap pulls off. So gentle snap. Snaps on really well. I'm going to put it in front of the microphone. Not too loud, but you get a nice snap there. And you can feel it. There's a tactileness to that snap as well. That reveals this black section, just tapering down, and then at the end we've got the nib. The nib, it's inlaid, and this is an 18 karat gold nib. Just get this position in the right place, and we'll take a look at the nib. So zooming in on the nib, I love the shape of this. Very different, isn't it? I know it holds the ink. I find with no matter what ink I use, we get a little bit of this ink on the actual nib itself. I personally, actually quite like it. On the nib, we've got, in the middle, we've got the Waterman logo. Then to the left of that, we've got 18K. And to the right, we've got 750. 18 karat gold nib. Very nice nib to write with, very, very smooth, which we'll get to as we come to the writing. If I unscrew the body, we can see here, there's the included cartridge converter. Metal fittings, I wouldn't even think about eyedropper in this pen. Got a couple of O-rings down the bottom. What that means is when we're closing the pen, it's got it's a nice, like a soft landing, so you're not jamming the body against that little bit of metal there. Really nice. Well thought of, well put together. Let's do some size comparisons. First two size comparisons, my standards. So we've got a Pilot Metropolitan to the Lamy Safari. The Waterman with the cap on looks that little bit longer, doesn't it? Let's pop the caps off. With the cap off, we've got a slightly different story. The Waterman ever so slightly longer than the Safari, but we're only talking a little tiny bit. I mean, if you were to push me, I'd say they're the same length. Definitely longer though than the Metropolitan. We can see the width, this is starting to come into play. The Safari a lot wider. The Metropolitan, again, I would say a little bit wider in the body. Looking at the nibs, though, this is where it really stands out. Yes, I know we're comparing steel nibbed to gold nibbed, but just the way that inlaid nib looks, it looks elegant. It's a very nice looking nib. The pen itself, unposted, is a very nice fit in the hand. There we can see. I do use this pen unposted. You can post it. It posts extremely well. It posts nicely. The only thing I worry about, and this is just my personal preference, is if I'm posting it, am I going to end up scratching this gorgeous material? Because the inside of the cap there, you can see that's metal. So I don't post it. I'm not going to show this posted as a comparison. Let's swap over and we'll take a look at some pens that are in roughly the same price range. The two pens I brought in, Diplomat Aero, steel nibbed, pull-off cap. When I bought this, it was 263 Aussie dollars. The Waterman Carene, 18 karat gold nibbed, pull-off cap. When I bought this, it was 266 Aussie dollars. Now, I have recently checked the price. I like to try and check the prices before I film these videos. I'm telling you how much I paid when I bought it, which was just over a year ago. On the same site that I got this pen from, it is now listed at 400 Aussie dollars. But what you need to bear in mind, I bought this from overseas. I bought it from the UK. The price of the pen has gone up. It's gone up by about 50 UK pounds. But it looks like it's gone up even more in terms of dollars because of the exchange rate. The exchange rate has changed quite a lot. So that's why it looks a lot more expensive. Just bear that in mind if you're looking for this. The other pen I brought in, this is a Pilot Custom Heritage 92. 14 karat gold nib. Rhodium plated nib though. And when I got this, this was 270 Aussie dollars. Both the Diplomat and the Pilot, they have gone up in price. I'm just not sure what they've gone up to yet. Very nice pens in terms of size. Lengthwise, the Carene and the Diplomat roughly the same. The Diplomat is a lot fatter pen, even when we come down into the section. The Pilot, ever so slightly shorter, and I would say is ever so slightly thinner as well. And certainly the section is a lot thinner. But all three pens are very lovely pens. Let's pop the caps on these. With the caps on, the Diplomat looks like the big boy, doesn't it? It looks a lot wider than the other two pens. Again, to my eye, the Pilot looks a little bit thinner. Let's swap on over and fetch in the rule of measuring. Here's the rule of measuring. So in comes the pen. So the total length with the cap on, 14.4 centimetres. Unposted, that comes in at 12.8 centimetres. I say will post, I personally don't, but it's possible if that's what you want to do. And posted, that comes in at 14.8 centimetres. The width of the body at its widest part, which is down here, that's 1.21 centimetres. The width of the cap, again at its widest part down near the bottom, 1.32 centimetres. The section, hard to do really measurements with this because the way it tapers all the way down. So I've measured from just above the nib here, that was 0.99 centimetres, and it went up to 1.12 centimetres. Doesn't sound like a wide pen, but when you're writing with it, it's very comfortable. Let's swap on over and fetch in the scales of weighing. Here's the scales of weighing. So total weight for the pen, 34 grams. Remember, we have got a little bit of ink in here. Body only, 24 grams. And with a cap, 11 grams. So this pen has got a little bit of weight to it. And again, as you're writing, you can feel that weight. And to me, just adds a little bit more to the comfort. We'll swap on over and fetch in the notepad of testing. Just dropping in to interrupt your regular programming. Would you like to help support the channel? If so, please consider joining as a member. As a member, you'll get early access to my videos. I normally upload them a couple of days before they go out, and as soon as they're uploaded, they'll be released to members. There'll also be a shout out at the end of the videos, and then as we get the members coming in, we'll actually chat among ourselves and work out what other perks, what other things you'd like me to add in. You know, would you like maybe a monthly live chat just for members. All down to us. So please, if you can, consider joining the channel. A link will be in the description down below. Here we've got the notepad of testing. This is Ayush paper. It's an A4 notebook. Very nice fountain pen friendly paper. Slight creaminess to the paper as well. So we'll fetch in the pen. We have here a Waterman Carene. It's got a medium nib, and that nib is 18 karat gold. I do think this nib is a very nice, generous nib. Really puts down a lovely line. Price wise, I'm going to give the two prices. So 266 when I bought it, 400 Aussie dollars now. Bear in mind exchange rates. The ink is by Diamine, and it's Oxblood. I think as a match, this is very good. I do like where my ink and my pen, they match colours, although occasionally I've been experimenting a bit lately and putting in complementary colours rather than actual matching colours. So we'll see how that goes, but I like this ink, and I think, certainly until I've used up this Oxblood, I think I may not change this now. I may keep this combo going. Let's do drying times. So we go immediate, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, 1 minute. After 1 minute, we're still getting some smudging. I'm going to do a 2-minute test. Two minutes. Yeah, now it's dry. So as a combo, this is fairly wet. And I found that with most of the inks I've tried in here, they all seem to be wet. So it's a fairly wet writer. Let's look for any line variation. So here we've got no pressure. Now this is one of the things I have to be careful of. I tend to orientate this pen incorrectly when I pick it up. I've got to make sure I get the nib the right way. So there's no pressure. There's with pressure. A little bit of softness there to the nib. We certainly see a wider line. So no pressure, with, none, and with. I don't push the nib though when I'm writing normally. We'll write a sentence, so I'll move the mic down to the page. This is very nice to write with. It's quite smooth. Now there is a bit of texture to this paper, and I can feel that as I'm writing. It's enjoyable to write with. If I was to be extremely picky, I'd have liked a little bit more feedback, but that's just me being very, very picky. Let's do my flow test. Flows really well, not had any issues. I say, apart from where we saw with the line variation, you've got to get the nib oriented right. And this is one of the things with this pen, I say, because the way the whole thing just seems to sit, I do struggle sometimes when I'm trying to get that nib oriented. So what are my thoughts and my scores for this pen? We'll start with pen looks. This is, I've said it a couple of times, it's an elegant pen. It exudes elegance. You know, Waterman, you're talking one of the, very well established, a premier maker if you want. The material, absolutely gorgeous. I love this marine amber. I'm actually quite glad I got this colour. I did look at the other colour that was available, but really like this marine amber. I like the way we've got the gold accents, or the gold coloured accents, should I say. I like the nib. I like the way it looks. As it just exudes elegance. For pen looks, I'm going to give it 9 out of 10. Build quality. I haven't had any issues so far. I've had this pen just under a year. It's been inked up all but maybe 2 or 3 weeks I didn't have it inked up. So it's used quite frequently. It's very nice to use, had no issues with the build quality. So for build quality, I'm going to give it 8 out of 10. Writing experience, as we can see, it's a very, very generous line. The nib, it is a little bit on the soft side, but we've got this softness to it, so we can get a little bit of line variation. Personally, I would say don't try pushing it. It's, I've been doing that here to get this, but I just don't want to risk damaging the nib. Writing experience, I'm actually going to give that a 9 out of 10. Ink flow, so I'll fetch in the Tomoe River paper now. So here we've got the Waterman Carene and Diamine Oxblood. I really like the combo, I'm calling that out here. We get some nice colour going down. We've got very nice ink flow. Don't see much shading. I don't expect that with this ink though. The nib is nice. Again, I'm calling out, it does feel it's a little bit stiff, but there's a little bit of feedback to it. Pen feels a little bit on the thin side. I have said it looks thin, but when I'm writing, that just vanishes. It just disappears from my mind. So it's something I'm quite happy with. Then I've got my other tests there at the bottom. So the ink flows very well. It's a very wet combo. So this is something which could potentially be an issue. If you're taking a lot of notes, do you really want to have to sit and wait for one page to dry before you can start on the next? Something to bear in mind with this pen. And also it really depends on the paper as well, doesn't it? But for ink flow, 8 out of 10. Comfort, it's a nice feel, it's a nice weight, very well balanced when I'm using unposted. Feels quite well balanced posted, does feel a little bit heavy on the back, but we've just put 11 grams of cap on there. I don't do that, I don't post it because I don't want to damage this material. A little bit on the thin side, but as I say, that also it disappears when I start writing. So for comfort, I'm going to give it 8 out of 10. Value for money. The one thing you can say, it's a lot of money. When I bought it, 266 Aussie dollars, I was humming and hawing a little bit, but I thought, yeah, it's a Waterman Carene. I've heard loads of good things about it. It's a gold nib. It was an 18 karat gold nib. I thought, go on, Gary. I think it is worth maybe about that $266 range. But when I looked now, if I'd have been looking now to buy one and I'd have seen 400 Aussie dollars, it would have stayed at the shop. I would not pay that. I think 266 though, quite a good price for it. Maybe I might push it up to maybe 300, 320, but I wouldn't go much more than that. As I've said multiple times, bear in mind, currency rate is what is the issue because I buy these from abroad. It's worth, as I say, 300-ish, I think, good value. At 400, not so good. But based on what I paid for it, I'm going to give value for money an 8 out of 10. So that means the total score for the Waterman Carene and Diamine Oxblood is 8.33 out of 10. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Have you got a Waterman Carene? Have you got any similar pens? Please drop your comments. What do you think about pens like this? How do you experience them? I'd love to start the conversation. Please hit the thumbs up button every time you like, every time you comment, just helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you can get new videos as I release them. I'll talk to you again soon.